So guys, we finally got to 500 subscribers. Fantastic. Thanks to all of you guys for subscribing. Hopefully you guys that aren't subscribed do so in the future. It really helps out. And I wanted to go back to the first deck that really got sort of popular on the channel. And that was Ciri Hyperthin Lockdown. This was more than a year ago. So Lockdown actually did something then where your opponent could never use their leader ability. Extremely oppressive. You only had 10 provisions from it, so your deck's usually really poor quality. Depending on how much synergy the opponent's leader had with their deck. But against things that really relied on their leader, like Blue Stripes Commando Zeal is popular then, you could really just shut them down extremely hard. Vi came out too a little bit later on, and you could lock down. They couldn't use overwhelming hunger charges on the Vi. Really oppressive. Nowadays, Lockdown is something different. We've got the disable opponent's leader ability for the duration of the round. Not fantastic most of the time. You get 14 provisions for it, so not a lot. And then if your opponent leader ability is on cooldown or has no charge, you spawn 2 operatives on your melee route. So it's worth 6 if your opponent has used their leader. If they have not, well, you better hope locking it down is worth a lot of points. So Lockdown, this isn't a full discussion of Lockdown, but what it is a discussion of is this deck, the Ciri Hyperthin Lockdown. Now, the idea here was previously the Lockdown was extremely oppressive. It was very, very powerful. But you didn't have a lot of provisions. Counteracting a lot of provisions, Ciri Nova meant you didn't have a lot of expensive cards in your deck, and then you'd play Hyperthin with Ciri Nova. Now, decks have changed, cards have changed since then, but let's take a look at what we're going to run here, we're going back to it. Let's take a look. We're going with Collar, bit of control. I like Collar. Now, you're going to see a couple versions of this deck, and I'll talk about the different cards here, so this might be a little longer in the beginning. So, this is the final version I ended up running with. We're going with Royal Decree. It thins your deck by 1, it's 9 provisions, pulls out anything you want. Fantastic. Invocation. Now, the reason I'm running Invocation is because no one expects Hyperthin to play Invocation. Like, nobody expects you to have this. It expects Vilgefortz, that's it. And you need an extra thinning in your deck if you're playing with Invocation, and it can brick you a little bit round 3. But it's extremely valuable. I'm sure everyone who plays against Invocation knows this, but it's even more valuable when the opponent doesn't think you have it. So we have the Invocation. Ciri Nova, core of the deck. Still an amazing card if you meet the conditions without too much hampering your deck, which is why I went with Hyperthin. Because Hyperthin could pretty much play its entire game plan with less than 10 provisions in their deck. The only thing you lost was when Sunset Wanderers came out, you couldn't play that. That's okay. Now, Ciri Nova, Resilience and Shield and Veil on an 8-point unit. The only thing this is weak to is Purify and Tall Removal. If it takes a Tall Removal, it's not hitting your Zarthesius or your Yennefer target. If it takes a Purify, well, that sucks. So just hope it doesn't get Purified. That's basically what it comes down. You want to last play here most of the time, but against certain decks like Bounty Syndicate, you can tank the Witchfinder bounties pretty well, and against stuff you don't think they have Purify, she's pretty good. Vilgefortz's removal, or he pulls the top thing off your deck. Quite nice. Zarthesius. If he's your last play with Golem in your deck, he's a 17. That is a big card. Roach thins your deck by 1. There's 2 versions you can go for here, I'll talk about later on. A couple versions. You can go for more of the tactics with the War Council, Menno, that kind of thinning, or you go with the Roach and the Knickers. I went with the Roach and the Knickers here. We have Bribery. I added in Bribery as another option. You can get a big card from Bribery. I had 8 provisions, so we went with Bribery. We've got the Triss and the Yennefer. Obviously great with your Imperial Golem, which you're running. Used to run Tibor, then Golem got this big buff down to 6 provisions, and I think Golem's more worthwhile now, because it lets you fit in Bribery. You can cut the Bribery and the Golem, and put in Tibor if you want, and then put in a 5 provision card. We have the Knickers, comes out of your deck. Dead Man's Tongue, double thin, fantastic. Fair card, it plays a special and draws you a card. So, another thinning, really good. Imperial Golem, we mentioned, is your target for all of the deck thinning stuff. Roderick of Duntide, you look at 2 cards from your deck, play 1, 2 gold cards, really helpful. You don't want to play them too early though, or you want to make sure you have stuff like your your Triss and your Yennefer in your hand, because you play him early, you might get Roach, you might get Knickers, you might get Triss, you might get Yennefer, you get the idea, you don't want to do it too early. We've got Blightmakers for the Mage Assassins. Normal Hyperthin, you play Tactical Decision, and you don't need to put the stuff on top of your deck because your leader will do it for you. But we're not playing that, so we have the Blightmakers to do that. With the Mage Assassins, double Assassinate for a bit of control. Same with the Tourney Joust, bit of control. Our point slam is actually pretty good round 2 and 3, especially round 3. So you don't need too much help with that. We want to control the opponent's stuff. 1 Vikavaro Novice. It can save your hand if you have like a Mage Assassin in it or something. That's the deck. There are several different options you can run with and different things I have tried out. So I have run... So before we get into it here though, if you take a look here, we have 1 thinning from Decree. We have -1 thinning from Invocation, so this cancels out. We're at 0. 1 thin from Roach. 1 thin from Knickers. 2 from Dead Man's Tongue. 1 from Faircart, that's 5. Roderick is 6. Blademaker is 7. Blademaker is 8. Now you'll notice here that we're only thinning by 8. I don't think I missed any, right? 1, 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8. And then Roderick, so we have 9. 9 is the amount you usually do to Hyperthin or to thin to 1. We thinned to 2 here in this version at the end because of Invocation, and also so we don't die to a Vilgefortz or Scoundrel, which would be really annoying. So we're thinning to 2 instead of 1 for that reason, and then you leave a special card in with Sarthesius if you want, or you can thin to 0 or thin to 1 if you want with something else like the other versions I'm about to talk about. And those versions can run... I have tried both Anna Henrietta. You'll see these in the video, by the way. I've tried running Anna Henrietta, so you can run Anna Henrietta. I've done it over Vilgefortz because she gives you a new leader ability, really powerful for her provisions, but the ability has to get you a lot of points. The thing is, any ability is going to give us more points on lockdown, so the idea is we lock down their leader ability when we go for a big push, and then we steal theirs with Anna and go for a big push that way. So you can run Anna. Another thing I've tried out is the option of you go for the no bribery, and then you go Afan and you go Albric. So you do thin. That's how you thin to 1 again, and you play 1 assassination. You can run this version. This thins to 1. I like this version. This is one probably used the most, I think. You can run this version here. You can run no Decree and then thin some other way. So maybe Decree for your Anna Henrietta like this. You can do this, and then this thins back to 2 again instead of 1. It's up to you what you want to thin to. Completely up to you. So you might see this, and the other options that we can always slot in here are take out the Anna for a second, put Decree back in, because Decree is really strong and I'd recommend it. And then we'll go with this. Okay, so something like this with Afan and Albric. Take them out for a second here. These middle provisions here are the ones I think you can play with. This and obviously assassinations. So quick note on other cards you might see in the deck today. Go to Nilfgaard, because they're pretty much all Nilfgaard. What you might see, by the way, Q used to be a 9, so that was an inclusion option before. Now it isn't. Cards you might say, like we talked about, Anna, really good for taking the opponent's leader after you lock theirs down and going for a push. Best around, going for like a 2-0 approach, which is hard with Hyperthin, but you can do it. That's not a bad option. If you want to go for round 3 stuff, you can do that. The other options, you can play Bribery. It's a really high value card, potentially. It's potentially bad, so up to you on that one. Dowadric is an option because he gets you whatever you want eventually from his abilities. By the way, you'll notice there's no Snowdrop, and that's because we don't have the Tactical Decision. Snowdrop's more of a Tactical Decision card, in my opinion. Other cards you can go with and might see today. I have tried Swears. You won't see him in this video today. He's a decent option in these middle spots. You will see also, yeah, I mentioned the Albric and Afan option, which is probably what this deck had in it here, like this. You can go with Peter as a tech card. Peter is pretty nice. You can get your reset. Although Spores is an option that only costs 4 provisions, but Peter is a unit, so you can play him with Decree, so it's easier to get him out. And you can also get him with your Roderick of Duntime, so he's an option you'll see today as well. And then as far as the last cards, obviously the Browns down here, you can play what you want, but really I prefer Assassination over Coded Weapons. And then you can go with the Imperial Brigade and Hunting Pack options as well if you want to for thinning. I prefer these other options, but this is a possibility. And then last but not least, where'd he go? Where did you go? Oh, there's Vikavaro Novice. Yeah, you'll see Vikavaro Novice. You might see a second one. And then the other one is Ardvent Tortoise. He's a 4 provision card you can include down here over the Eternity Joust if you don't need the control. I felt I needed the control, so I included them over the Ardvent Tortoises. But yeah, that's the deck. Idea behind the deck's pretty simple. You thin is down to 1, or you thin down to 1, maybe 2, depends on the scenario. The option to not thin to 1 all the time is good if you're running up against a lot of Scoundrel or a lot of Nilfgaard with Vilgefortz, because it's an automatic loss if you have 0 cards in your deck round 3. How you play around that is, if you think they're doing that, you keep one of your Mage Assassins or something in your hand, or you banish a gold with Dead Man's Tongue, preferably a gold you put onto your deck with Invocation, not one of your good cards. So that's the option here, and what you want to do, round 1, win round 1, round 2 you bleed, round 3 a really good short round, and then you win. That's the idea. Let's see how it worked out. Here we go, let's see what we find. Nature's Gift. Nature Gift isn't a great matchup because they can survive the long rounds, the round 2 bleed, which is what we want to go for pretty easily. They can win round 1 a lot of the time against us, although we do have control tools. And round 3 they have Wrath of Brokilon and Gourd for big plays, which will be problematic for us. So not a great matchup, but it's certainly still winnable. We're going to want to thin early, play our tempo cards. You'll notice here this is the Albrecht version of the deck. We're playing a bunch of different versions. I'll just play like a couple versions in this video. Like between each game I'll change the different versions, show them off, because it's just a bit of fun. I don't expect any of these decks to actually perform super well. Little Vilgefortz this. It's a good tempo play, which we need to secure this round. We'll burn this away, lose advantage. Oh, we hit Brokilon. Hey, get out of here, man. No, I'm just kidding. You still have a good chance of winning. But that was a big one. We pulled Wrath of Brokilon out. The round 3 got a lot easier, which means we're not super scared of the round 3 anymore. We can go in like 6-7 cards maybe, instead of going down to 3 or 4. Hamadryad will get him points here. We already did our big tempo play. Vilgefortz only played for like 8 points, but we also made him lose Wrath of Brokilon, which is nice. Zap. And that'll be the Mage Assassin. Knicker's coming out here. Now, I want to get some carryover with Ciri Nova, I think. Without Wrath of Brokilon, Casey's playing that guy. The card's gotten a lot more popular lately. I can see it. Now, we could go for a lock. The thing is, locking the Hamadryad's kind of pointless because he's going to play the Dryad's Caress on it, and then it'll get unlocked and also boosted. So let's go play a fun, solid 11-point play there. And we're just thinning as much as possible at this point. We want to keep the pressure up. We do have access to Invocation for another removal, but Invocation is the removal he's not going to expect. So that's the removal I want to hold on to. There's a Dunka. Dunka's going to get him a little bit of value here. Nothing too crazy. How about we just take Dunka? Nah. Maybe not. That's over. It's not going to give him that many points. If you just Tourney Joust it, actually. Work an Invocation Hamadryad. Deny the points. I don't want to play too far, because we have to remember that we'll lock this now, by the way. It's going to get really tall. We just have to know that locking it is not going to stop its ability. And he's going to caress it. That sounded a little weird. Don't worry about it. Isengrim's Council here. We have to remember the Simloss play is an option, so I don't want to get caught too much by this big Simloss play. But we did go second, so we have the option of just passing when he does it. Second Hamadryad coming out. More engine value. I wouldn't be surprised if next turn the other one gets a Dryad's Caress on it. We don't need to win uneven, by the way. But I think we're going to pass, so to do that, we'll just play Ciri Nova here. Unfortunately, you might be playing a Purify, but it's probably Dryad's Caress. I don't think he's another Purify. Usually they're Devotion decks, so I don't think he can actually kill our Ciri Nova. Especially if they have Wrath. If they have Ethne in the deck, they're almost always Devotion. Well, some of them aren't just for the Heat Wave, but I would expect this to be a Devotion deck. There's the pass. So we actually do get a win on even with Ciri Nova carryover. Now, we're playing Hyperthin, which means our all-in 2-0 is pretty poor because we're going to have our Triss and Yen and Sarthesius won't be online yet. But he doesn't know we're playing Hyperthin yet because we didn't really show any of that thinning. We just played a Blightmaker. Maybe we go for it. Let's see. I do want control here. These control tools are all nice. Put Triss back. She's not going to be great this round. And these Hyperthin decks, by the way, don't feel bad to put back Triss or Yen round 2. This is you don't want to play them, and they probably won't play for a lot. Hand's not super good. I think we push hard here. And I think we just lock down right now. In the long round, he gets a lot of passive value from the nature cards. Nah, it's not locked down quite yet. Let's see what he does. If he plays a massive play here, like Simloss, we could just pass. If he doesn't play a big play, we'll push hard. If he goes for Simloss, he'll probably get the round. We'll just bleed him a little bit and hold on to lockdown for round 3. If he does not play the big Simloss play, I think we'll lock him down and push. Rebuke. Okay. I think we do lockdown push then. No big Simloss play coming out. So we will maintain this pressure. We could go up a card round 3, but honestly, you want to play a short round with this deck. So let's go for the push. We'll deny him a lot of passive value and go for this Anna Henrietta. Carry over our own value. We can also use these 3 charges this round. We're only going to get 6 points from this. There's a tempering, but when everything doesn't give him the tree ant, he's going to get a lot of those points. Assassinate that. We have a lock and a tourney joust for control left. We have fair card to play the tourney joust or the invocation. We have 3 big control cards. Looking pretty good here. If we can force out his gourd, I'll be very happy. That looks like a prime tourney joust target. So we'll fair cart that out. Fair cart into the joust. Goodbye. Like I said, normally we're going to deny a lot of value here from these nature cards from his leader, and normally he would have put that 3rd charge on that Sorceress of Global Thana. There's the Simloss. Just into 1 Bountiful Harvest. Perfect. I'm guessing he didn't expect this push, but again, tourney joust. Boom, boom. Goodbye. Although he did get Sorceress Global Thana off both of his Bountiful Harvests. Pretty nice for him, but we had the control to answer it. We do have a lock. Remember, lock doesn't really do anything if he has Dryad's Caress. There's a Gezeras. So we're going to lock the Gezeras into Dryad's Caress, and then we're going to Invocation it, so we take away the points he gained from the Caress. Will it give us more value? Because normally you would have put this on Simloss, right? But now we can take the extra 3 points. And there we go. Ollie wants to force out Gord. With Gord gone, I'm pretty sure we got this round. Well, at this point, I think we got this round 3. If Gord's gone, though, for sure. Okay. His last card's been boosted. It's probably Gord. But we can just pass. It's pretty risky to play our Roderick, and we can save these 3 charges for round 3. No need to go all in here. We have gained enough of an advantage here, and this is almost certainly Gord, or a way to play Gord from his hand. And yeah, it's Gord. So, force that out, and that should be a GG. Our round 3 is just too strong. Just too strong. That being said, we do have some thinning left to do. Our deck's not perfectly set up. We're up a card with 3 leader charges for 6 points. That is Gezeras, and he's just gonna leave. GG. Good game. Good game. I've played this deck quite a bit before recording these, had a bunch of experiences. And, yeah, obviously this isn't the strongest deck, but it's still capable of winning. Carapace here. Interesting. Very interesting. What do we want to deal with here? It's most likely the 2-round Keltelis deck. So I want Invocation to be really key here. So we can actually kill something with Vilgeforce and Invocation the Keltelis, and that's kind of the end of their deck. Well, that's the big threat. At least our issue, though, is that we can't actually do that because we didn't draw our Invocation. Now, we can get it with Roderick, so it's not the end of the world. But then we drew into Knickers, which makes it a little bit harder. We have to play a gold card first. We can just Vilgeforce this, so we have the option of doing that. And then we can always collar this Arthesius this round if we want to. This also gets our Roach out, which is nice. We can lock him this round. He'll Carapace it, but whatever. He'll kill a couple Mage Assassins. Urax, see what he gets. Ciri. That's like the wrong card, bro. Alright. So that's a problem. We can Roderick for Invocation at some point. We can also Thin, or we can pass. Well, Dead Man's Tongue here. I want to get rid of probably his Turning Joust. We don't need these control cards against him. That's for sure. And then we'll go boost something. Make it 13 so we have dominance here. Just in case he wants to play dominance card, we have a 1 point higher. Do lose Ciri Nova, which is kind of the big point of the deck. Here's Decree into Nithril. No surprise here. But we have dominance, so we know it's 1 damage for now. We can go Roderick here. Let's try to get our Invocation. There it is. Perfect. We had a pretty good chance of that. We thinned out a lot, and we really needed it. Really did need that. Now, let's see what he does next. The Beast. It's going to get him a lot of points. He's not going to use his last charge on that, so we can lock it, though. We can lock it. That's pretty good. Nithril, he still doesn't have dominance. We should be fine here. He's going to have Witch's Sabbath for a fair... What's he going to get now? Nithril, the Beast, and that's it for now. Let's lock the Beast. Let's just hold on to the Collar as long as possible. It's more of a preventive measure. As long as we have Collar here, he's going to be kind of afraid of committing strong engines or strong cards with abilities. There's a Spores. He always plays Spores, and now he has the Dominance. So we'll hit this Nithril down to 5 and kill it with Assassination. That way it's gone. Let's use the Collar for the 3 damage. And let's see what he wants to go for. There is a Wild Hunt Hound. We can Decree into something. If we had Knickers in our deck, still would be much preferable. But we can go for Blightmaker here. We'll thin our deck again. It's also placed for 11. Quite good. And that should just about get us there. I don't think he will be able to get 11 points here. Most of his value comes from the Keltilis. I'm guessing he'll either pass or we'll just pass here. Without the Keltilis in his deck, we have a pretty good advantage here. Yeah, there's that. And now we can pass safely. Knickers being quite annoying, drawing into our opening hand, but we'll be okay. Now, some players will just not use their last leader charge so that your lockdown doesn't get you the 6 points of agents. I have a feeling he's going to use his leader charge on Nithril again, though. So that's probably not going to come up here. Probably not. Oh, there's Keltilis. We're probably going to play Keltilis ranged if we play him at all. And we want those Knickers in our deck, and we want the Golem in our deck. Perfect. Unfortunately, we don't have a special card for Faircart. This deck does suffer from poor hands quite a bit. There's his setup. Looking a little scary. Let's go with Novice. No Knickers, we don't want you. Stop doing this. So what's he get? Probably 4 points a turn? Still 3 points. Play Ciri Nova. And there they are. Now we do have the option of playing Keltilis, but it's probably not going to work out for us that way. Probably not. So he's getting quite a bit of value. We can go for our Hyperthin plays, although it's really not ideal. Really not ideal, but I guess we have to. There's a Fawn. Get Dominance, although that does mean the Beast keeps boosting, but it's going to keep boosting anyway because of the Witch's Apprentice. There's the Heat Wave. Fine. I will admit, it's not looking great here. We can get 6 points from our agents. And we can go with the Triss. We're going to go for Sarthesius. Let's go Sarthesius. There's a Golem. Perfect. Now he's played Heat Wave, so I think that's his only tele removal. I think this Sarthesius is pretty safe. Sarthesius is better than Triss because Triss will hit armor. Oh, don't have another Spores. Usually Spores is the one of, so I wouldn't expect to see one here. Playing double Spores makes you a little suspicious. Okay, there's the Hideous Feast. He's got dominance back. He'll hit us. We go for Triss here. Keltalis ranged is worth 9. We'll click these agents and go for our Triss. I like keeping Keltalis because... Oh, nice. We got Golem again. RNG being pretty favorable to us today. Actually, I guess it was unfavorable. We kept drawing bribery. Or not bribery. We kept drawing knickers. So that was not favorable. Very nice. We got a card advantage here. If he played another card, I think we lose. But he didn't. Scared him off. He knows we're holding Keltalis. That's 9. Now for fair cart here. This hand. Ooh, this hand. Let's, Well, the thing is, this is worth 3. We can actually play the Afan from our hand, so I guess it's worth more. Let's play the Afan now. Now, the thing is here, we basically just have to intimidate him into losing. Because our hand is trash. Like, absolute trash. Let's just lock that. And as long as there's no Purify, that means that's gone. Leave. You know the Keltalis. It's scary. Go away. Nice. GG. Oh, is this the same person? No, it's not. It's a different leader. You'll notice if you play these intriguing decks, a lot of the time that your games will get pretty interesting sometimes. And that's kind of what happens when you play weird decks like this. I guess I'd say this is a pretty weird deck. Our hand last game, though, was really bad. I'm surprised we managed to pull that out, but we just like scared him into quitting. Because Albric plays for 4, Afan was a 5, and then we have Golem against monsters. He played most of his units, probably like an 8. It's like 17. We have Keltalis. We have like 26 with 4 cards. Alright, we'll zap this. We're going to get the thinning here. And there's the Ciri Nova. This guy is so lucky right now that we are not holding Vilga Forts or something. We'll just thin again. You'll notice here this is the Anna Henrietta version. I swapped it out between the games. See how it does. All of them aren't that great in the current meta. Oh, don't. Not Ciri Nova this time, at least. Oh, our Vilga Forts. That's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. We can go for a thin on Albric. He's going to get his draw from Ciri. But we really need our deck set up or else he's going to win. I need this Roach coming out. He's going to get his Ciri draw now. But if we just pass there, he wins on even. That's not good. And we pass here. He's going to win on even because of the Ciri draw, but we can't keep going. The nice thing, though, is he hasn't used any of his leader charges, so we can lock him out of his leader charges this round, and then go to round 3, where we maybe have our control tools. That's our plan. We'll lock down him this round, and then go to round 3. We can steal his leader ability with the Anna Henrietta, and it's actually worth 9. It's a good use of it. It's a good Anna Henrietta target. Okay, yeah, so we just lock him. Okay, well, also we just lock him down right now. But he did use 1. Maybe we don't then. No, we definitely do. We lock him down, try and force this to a long round 3, where we can use stuff like Triss for control. That's our plan. We didn't get our fair cart yet, which is unfortunate. But we can try and get him with this Duke of our own Novice. It's Anna Henrietta. It's not bad. One of these guys back. Because if we go to a round 3, we can get carryover from Ciri. It's 8 points. And then hopefully we'll have enough stuff to... We'll have Invocation and Triss, so we can kill off the Defender and the Keltalis. We need to force that to happen here. Okay, that's a little scary. He might want to go for it. I don't want him to go for it. Let's boost here. We are not going to need these tourney jousts, I don't think. So we'll boost by 8. Let's see what he does. He's got 2 engines ticking. It's not a big fan of that. Pact. Yeah, it's not very committal. Let's play our Ciri Nova. So he might pass here, and we'll go down a card. We don't have big tempo plays in our hand right now. We'll go down a card, but with Ciri. That's a trade I'm willing to make. If not, we're in trouble. I just want him to force him into passing, basically. And this is a good option for him to pass, because he'll go up a card. I want him to think it's a good idea. Okay, he's going to play the Ice Troll guy. The Ice Troll. That's not a great play, actually. And we can maintain some tempo here. I really don't want to Invocation anything other than Kaltullus. Let's go for this. I want to maintain dominance. And then we'll pass. Because if we have dominance, we can shut down this Hound, which will help us out. 2 leader charges the same he has going into round 3. And we'll still have Ciri. Okay. Interesting. Now, we only need 6 or 7. We only need 7 points here. We can lock this Ice Troll, because now we'll have more units than him. I want to keep these leader charges here. Because I want him to pass. I don't want him to play Witch's Sabbath at all. So I just really want him to pass. If he goes up a card, that might make him want to pass. And that's the plan. I want him to want to pass. Because I don't want to play these other cards. I guess we're stuck with probably... I guess we have to Invocation here. We're going to have to deal with Kaltullus some other way. Get our knickers out. Perfect. Now, Fair Card's not going to have a good target. I think we have an Assassination left. That's it. And then we have to play our other cards first, so we don't draw the Assassination with Fair Card. She Who Knows. Well, that's a problem. Let's see what we had to deal with this. We can go with probably... Nothing good in our deck really has. We can hit it with the Order of Hyperthin Phantom maybe, but it's only taking it down by 3. We don't have too many options here.
What is it you want?
Play Phantom. Give it a turn. We can't play Zarthesius because if it hits our Assassination, we thin to 0 instead of 1. Parasite, okay. Let's see. I want to go Triss.
How can I help?
Oh, come on, Fair Cart. Like this? Really? That's alright, whatever. We hit Golem, we kill that, but it's RNG. RNG. Favored us last game, not this game. He's gonna go for the Adrenaline Rush. Haven't seen that one lately. I didn't want to give him more than he needed in his row with the She Who Knows, because if we played the Roderick in the melee row and then killed She Who Knows, I don't want him to have, like, didn't kill her. I didn't want him to have an easier Sabbath, but apparently he's playing Adrenaline Rush. Got punished for playing it ranged. Now, we do go to round 3 on even, though. He will have his Witch's Sabbath, and we have Ciri Nova. We both have carryover, but Ciri Nova's more carryover. Now, I want Assassination in our hand, so we can actually use Fair Cart. So, we have Zarthesius at some point into the Golem, that's a 17, and now we can play Fair Cart. And draw the Golem. Should be interesting round. He does have his leader charges, so we're going to have to deal with the Kaltullus. But this is really tall, and I don't think he has a... Well, he might have a Spores. Should be annoying. There's the Witch's Sabbath. We get 15 points. There we go. So we can go for the assassination here. Draw our golem. We have a lot of dead cards, unfortunately. So, not a great setup against Keltalis. He's probably going to take this one. There's a swallow. Going to kill off our fair card. Do we even bother? We can just starting this the same as playing it. Play it. Block this guy. He gets burned up. Looks like this one might be a loss. Of course, there's a chance Golem plays for 12, so he might not have any units in his deck. There's the Beast. Okay, it's only gonna be worth 8. And that also means his Keltalis doesn't kill something this turn. That's nice. Golem plays for... Oh, he's got something. 8, that's okay. Now we boost here with this. And we hope he doesn't have a Spores or a Tall Removal. This is going to be close. Depends on his last card. He might have something like a Swallow or another Doom Pact, for all we know. Oh, it's an Striga. And that's a draw. Huh, interesting. GG. So what do I think about the deck? Would I change? Well, there's a lot of options, which you've hopefully seen in this video. What I would change is hope that Lockdown isn't awful. But, you know, Lockdown is... I don't think they know what to do with it. The issue with my opinion is that Imprisonment kind of does what you'd want Lockdown to do. Imprisonment does locks. Lockdown, I mean... What else would you have it do? They took away its ability to lock down the opponent's leader for the whole game. That was extremely strong. Now you can lock down for 1 round. The issue is that's usually not very valuable. Now, there are 2 options you can kind of do with this. What you do with lockdown is you want to go for basically an all-in in a certain round. So the best way to do that is do like a 2-0 deck where you can lock down their ability before they realize, oh, I should use this now. So there's Colgrim Lockdown, which I have also played. I don't know if I did a video on that. I might do that as well. Where you lock down the leader round 2, and then just go Colgrim. Hope it kills him. And then you've got this, where you go lock down, trying to survive a round type of thing. Obviously, in every way, Ciri Nova Hyperthin is better in Tactical Decision. But, in the honor of the channel having like 6 Ciri Nova Hyperthin lockdown videos, and it being the first Gwent video, I thought we'd go back and play it for our 500 subscribers special. Just because we should do it. Now, as far as the actual cards in the deck, like I said, there's several options here you can go for. They're all fine. The issue is the deck's kind of weak right now. But you can do what you want with it. It's a lot of fun. You get some interesting games. Just watch out for other Vilgefortzes and Scoundrel. I even went and checked the patch notes, by the way, guys. I'll make a video on those later, probably. We'll take a look. But no change to Lockdown. Had to go check before I ever finish recording this. So this is how Lockdown is. And the deck's fun. It's just not very strong. So if you want to play it, I would recommend playing Tactical Decision Tactical Decision Hyperthin. Unless you really want to play Lockdown. In which case, this is... I mean, there's not a lot of good choices for Lockdown, so hopefully you find something that you like. Anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video today. Thank you all for subscribing, and we'll see you next time.